Okay, now we're going to be in Illinois. It became a state on December 3rd of 1818, making it the 21st state. The state capital is Springfield, Illinois. Now, the nickname is the land of Lincoln. Um, for obvious reasons, this is where Lincoln was living when he was elected president. He's not from Illinois, but this is where he was elected when he ran for president. He was one of three others, as you see on the notes, that lived in Illinois at the time they were elected. The only one that was actually born there, ironically, wasn't elected from there. Ronald Reagan, who was elected from California, was the only U.S. president born in Illinois. The current governor is J.B. Pritzker. It's known as being the home of Abraham Lincoln, not the birthplace, but the home. Chicago is a transportation and trade hub because Chicago is location multiple large bought areas of water. Trade would come out of different places. It's a manufacturing hub, it's a transportation hub, a trade hub. That just means that it's some place that a lot of things go through. Trade goes through there a lot, transportation, people travel through there a lot. And it's also instrumental in jazz and blues cultures. It was turned into an immigration center when the John Deere plow made the farming some of the best in the world and started attracting immigrants from Germany and Sweden. And we see this, and if you remember from chapter 4, we talked about in language that the secondary language that is spoken in North Dakota is German. And the reason why is because of these German immigrants that came there because of the good farming. Historically, Illinois was home to a Latter-day Saints utopia before relocating to Utah. There was a lot of belief in the early Latter-day Saints church about polygamy and marrying multiple people. And so the United States government did not agree with that. Latter-day Saints didn't want the government telling them what they could and couldn't do. And so they moved someplace where they thought nobody would ever mess with them, which is Utah. And from going there, I can tell you, it's very far out away from Illinois. It's Salt Lake City is surrounded by the mountains. It's a perfect place make a remote area to kind of get away. And the first Farm Aid concert to benefit American farmers along with oil production are all things Illinois is known for. There is the map and the state flag of Illinois. Indiana became a state on December 11th, 1816. It's the 19th state, and the state capital is Indianapolis, which comes from the Greek word polis, which means city. So it's kind of the city of Indiana is where it gets its name, the main city of Indiana. The nickname of Indiana is the Hoosier State, and Hoosier is basically just a name for someone from Indiana. So it's the state of people from Indiana. The current governor is Eric Holcomb. It's known for many sports such as the Indianapolis Colts, the Indiana Pacers, and the Indianapolis 500. There's a lot of variety of sports there. Where a lot of times here in the South, it's mostly football and baseball. There you have football, baseball, hockey, racing, all kinds of stuff. So, it's very versatile in terms of the types of sporting events they have. It's known for the creation of the first practical gasoline pump in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Before one-room log schoolhouses were built, the students' families would pitch in to pay the teacher's salary. What would happen, and they used to have what was called one-room log schoolhouses, which were just basically a log schoolhouse that had one room. The teacher taught every kid, didn't matter if he was 5 or if he was 15, they taught every kid, and the families would get together and pay the teacher. Like, that's how they would do it. It wasn't state funded or anything like that, federal funded, whatever. It was the students, their families would pay the teacher. And being the home of the Saturday Evening Post, which is a publication. Historically, Indiana has been the home of industry, agriculture, and a central figure of the Civil War. So there's a lot of history of the industrial part and agricultural. When it comes to the Civil War and things, Indiana plays a major role in a lot of the history of the United States. There is a map of the state of Indiana, and there is the state flag. Iowa became a state on December 28, 1846, making it the 29th state with the capital of Des Moines. The nickname is the Hawkeye State, and the current governor is Kim Reynolds. And it's known for agriculture. That's just kind of what it's known for. Iowa is a state law like Nebraska. There's a lot of fields. There's a lot of things growing there, and that's what it's really known for. It's known for being the birthplace of John Wayne, Herbert Hoover, and Cornell is the only school in the nation to have its entire campus on the National Register of Historic Places. And so Cornell, that is the only school to have the entire campus. Now, most colleges have historic places. They'll have this building as a historic landmark, or this one is, or whatever. But the Cornell is the entire college is a historic landmark. And that would make Andy Bernard of The Office very proud. Strawberry Point is home to the world's largest strawberry. Now, I think we can assume that this is not a real strawberry because it would rot after a short period of time. By the time I made this slide, it would have been rotten. Historically, Iowa is known for famous people, Native American history, and history of agriculture. There is the flag and the state map. Kansas became a state January 29, 1861, and is the 34th state with the capital of Topeka. The nickname of Kansas is the Sunflower State. The current governor is Laura Kelly. It's known for controversy around the Civil War and agriculture. An event called Bleeding Kansas, which I believe we'll talk about, is on this next slide, so I'll talk about it in just a minute. It's known to be the birthplace of Dwight D. Eisenhower, home of Pizza Hut, and the home of Amelia Earhart. So that's just a few random people that are from Kansas. It's also the home of the fictional character Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz. Historically, it's known for the Kansas-Nebraska Act, opening the door for settlement that led to Bleeding Kansas, and in 1881 became the first state to adopt a constitutional amendment prohibiting alcohol or prohibition, making it where it was illegal to make or sell alcohol in the state before prohibition took place in the United States. Bleeding Kansas was an event where, as they were adding states, because they were slowly adding states as they went, the debate got about should they be slave states or free states. And so this is where the Kansas-Nebraska Act comes into play, because it comes down to, should it be a state's right, or should it be, we established this one as a slave state, this was a free state. And because of this, there was a lot of controversy going into creating these states, because they didn't know they were going to be slave states or free states. And that made a big role, because as they would vote, because they voted just like we do today, as they would vote as a state, you didn't want, if you were an abolitionist, you didn't want a slave states having the majority, and if you were a slaveholder, you didn't want free states holding the majority, because that means they could vote down slavery or get rid of slavery if they wanted to. And so that was kind of a big issue at the time. There's the state map and the state flag. Kentucky became a state on June 1st, 1792, making it the 15th state, and the state capital is Frankfort, Kentucky. Its nickname is the Bluegrass State, and the current governor is Andy Beshear. It's known for the Kentucky Derby, which is a large horse race every year that a lot of people go to. They look forward to it, where they race horses. It's known for the home of Kentucky Fried Chicken, the National Corvette Museum, and bluegrass music. It's also known for multiple college sports teams, such as Louisville, University of Kentucky, Western Kentucky, just to name a few. Historically, Kentucky is home to many Native American wars, the Black Patch Tobacco Wars, and even was officially neutral during the Civil War. And a lot of this has to do with the fact that they just want to kind of stay out of it. They didn't really take a side either way. They just kind of want to stay out of it, not really get involved either way. There is a map, and there is the state flag. Louisiana became a state on April 30th, 1812, making it the 18th state. The capital is Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and it's known as the Bayou State because of all the different bayous that are in Louisiana, which are just kind of like swampy areas. A lot of southern Louisiana is like this. Current governor is John Bel Edwards, and it's known for Mardi Gras. The first Mardi Gras was held in Mobile, Alabama. So that's one thing it's known for. going down to Mardi Gras, enjoying the floats and the festivities and the music and all kinds of stuff like that. It's known for the Cajun people, which actually got to Louisiana after the the colonists ran the French out of Canada. They came down to the Mississippi River, down to Louisiana, and this is where the origins of the Cajun people came from. Incredible Gothic architecture, beautiful architecture um, in New Orleans. When I went to New Orleans, beautiful old churches, Gothic architecture, which is really tall, grand looking churches and things like that. And the culture. It's known for many different types of people and belief systems. Historically, it's known for multiple occupancies, meaning that the French had it at one point, the English had it at one point. People kind of fighting back and forth over it. Um, the Louisiana Purchase, which is where not just Louisiana, but everything west, north and west of this area, a lot of it was bought for a reasonably cheap price, basically because the French had no purpose to have it anymore. They had the Haitian islands, Haiti, that they had slaves on it, so they had Louisiana to grow things to send, food and things like that to send to Haiti. When the Haitian Revolution took place and they overthrew the government and the French lost Haiti, they really had no point in having it anymore, so they just went ahead and sold it to the United States. And more recently, Hurricane Katrina, which hit, of course, devastating New Orleans and a lot of Louisiana. This is the map. And an interesting thing about Louisiana that I didn't mention, they don't have counties. They have what's called parishes, which is similar, but it honors the French culture that they had to begin with. Um, and so they have parishes instead of counties. So that's just a nice little sub note. So then you see there's their state flag, which says Union, Justice, and Confidence. So that's Louisiana.